The vote actually occurs from noon until 8 p.m., which is a little different timing than we normally would have for an election. And it occurs in all 11 communities at the same time. And at the end of the day, they'll count up all the votes across the 11 communities, and however many votes are yes and however many votes are no, that will carry the day.
Now, is there going to be one location where someone will be tracking the votes? You know, Plainville will have their results, knowing how well the town clerk does Plainville elections. Probably by 20 past 8, you'll have the results. North Attleboro will probably be closer to about 10 of 9, but is there going to be one location where, well, we voted yes, but overall it voted no?
The towns report directly to the school district office what the results are, and then follow up later with a certification of that vote. So the early results will be out that evening.
So I should probably talk to Karen McGuire about being live from Tri-County that night.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that would be great. So I haven't heard a lot about it, and that's why I did not know the date. Do you think, Jeff, that's really going to ramp up leading into the 24th?
It's going to, and I know there hasn't been enough discussion about this in my view. There are a lot of people who will be affected by this vote, and they need to know more. And one of the things we are doing is on October the 4th, we are having first presentation by the superintendent of Tri-County School and their building committee down at our town hall. And they'll do a presentation on the project, Q&A, and then after they are complete, we'll be doing kind of a Q&A on, okay, if this comes to pass at the current cost numbers, how would we choose to fund it? What are our options on how we would pay for it? One of the things that's a little bit frustrating in this election is people are being asked, do you want a new school or not? They're not being asked to approve how it's getting paid for. And so each town will actually have a choice afterwards to figure out, okay, my assessment might come in at, in the case of Plainville, $1.4 million a year or $1.6 million a year. How are we going to pay for that? And we could take it out of the budget. We could do debt exclusion. We could play the lottery. I don't know. We've got lots of choices.
Or bet at Plainridge.
Yeah. It's important to
get
note
a percentage of that.
That's true.
That's true. It's important to note that the statute by which this regional school is built is 20 years prior to Proposition 2.5. So, for example, we today, if we wanted to build a school within the town of Plainville, you would attach it to whatever your funding option is, so that it would be a totally informed vote. If you want a school, this is what it'll cost, and this is how we intend to pay for it. Since this law was adopted 20 years before Proposition 2.5, and Proposition 2.5 wasn't obviously on the radar, this vote is literally, do you want the school? We'll figure out how to pay for it later. And that's not exactly what we would think is an appropriate way of asking a community if you want a new school. So unfortunately, we're stuck with an antiquated law, and this is what we have to do, because we've been actually getting emails from town residents of, why didn't you schedule this with a funding option? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with us is it's the same question in each of the 11 communities, all at the same time. And therefore, the funding option would vary by the different 11 towns. So they haven't fixed the law. We're going to live with the law as it stands, but we are going to be presented with a conundrum if it passes.